Hey, what is up, Grief Nation? In today's video, we're going to be covering everything you need to know in order to make you a better anchor in Rainbow Six Siege. With a team being split down into two major roles, both anchors and roamers, it's the job of the anchor to be the last line of defense for the site. He is Captain Clutch. This is a really important role for the team and can often lead to some pretty epic clutches if played correctly. In this video, we're going to be breaking down all of the following elements. Number 1, operator selection. 2, prep phase. 3 will be team comms. 4 is the number of anchors. 5 will be aggressiveness versus passiveness. And 6 is the final seconds of the round. So first up, we're going to take a look at operator selection. Now, predominantly when we think of anchors in Siege, we think of the slower, heavier operators. But realistically, anyone can play the role. If you're solo queuing as Jaeger and you notice that no one is on site, don't be afraid to make your way back to take up the task. When it comes to operator selection, for me, my personal feeling is that the best ops are Rook, Echo, Doc, Mirror, Smoke, and Legion. This doesn't mean that they can't be used in other roles to do well, but I just feel that they're best situated and best suited to staying on or near the site. Smoke, for example, although not a heavy operator, has the perfect utility to deny the diffuser plant or prevent attackers from getting into the site. I also went ahead and put Legion into this list as his gadget can provide an early warning as to where the enemies are pushing from, as well as slowing that push as they enter through doorways. There are other operators that fit into the anchor bracket as well in the form of Kapkan and Tachanka, although realistically there's little incentive other than meme value to take the Lord. Once you've selected your anchor, you then need to go about setting up during the prep phase. During this time, it's normally the job of the anchor to carry out some interior decoration, if you will, and remodel the site in a way that allows potential rotations and lines of sight to be created. If you're playing bomb, you want to ensure that you have a rotation between the two sites. Otherwise, you're going to be funneled through a single doorway if the plant goes down, and you can easily be picked off in this way. Operators like Rook and Legion both have impact grenades for this task. Mirror and Smoke both have shotguns to allow them to perform the job, so you do have a fair amount of versatility there. The great thing about Mirror is that a shotgun is a secondary and can be used for the task without wasting other utility. As an example of a site set up for anchors, I wanted to take a look at the kitchen trophy room on Chalet, as I feel it's a really good example of how to arrange a site during the prep phase. Although the only two rooms you need to defend are the kitchen and trophy room, with a large window looking into the A-bomb site in the kitchen, movement within here is going to be pretty limited. So by moving through to the dining room and opening the wall into trophy, you're provided with the opportunity to be able to cover the trophy room window, the kitchen window if you're brave enough to peek it, you can cover against attackers rushing the west main, and even the double door from the Great Hall with the fireplace. All of this is within a roughly 90-degree arc. You don't need to worry too much about behind you because other than the drone hole itself, there's nothing really there. There's no way you're going to be taken out. During the prep phase, however, there's nothing stopping anchors from sealing the hatches, as this can also be a good counter to Jackal. If he goes to scan the footprints near the hatches to find the roamers, he's instead going to waste one of his charges on someone that's heavily embedded into the site. So as soon as the prep phase ends, as an anchor, you very often become a bit of an in-game leader. You can direct your team from the relative safety from the objective. If you jump on cams straight away, you can get an idea of where the attackers have spawned, and even if you don't see them and the camera gets shot out, you've managed to acquire a lot of information there. By knowing which camera went down, you know roughly where they are. You can also listen out for the guns that shoot the camera. Sometimes if it's a really iconic sounding gun like a Blackbeard, you can hear that straight away, so you know that he's on the team. By relaying all of this information to your team, your roamers can be made aware of where they could potentially be spawn peeking, where the attackers are looking to enter the building, so they can readjust to sort of greet them as they enter. The best way to do this though is to give clear compass callouts. Pay attention to what it says down here and the direction of travel as well. Now, I will stress that if you are going to be doing this and jumping on the cameras, don't just sit there on them for 2 minutes. Jump in and out of them, having a quick flick through. You want to be spending roughly 2 to 3 seconds per camera, less if your brain can function that quickly, just to sort of grab the information and pass it on. If you sit on the cams for an extended period, you're removed from what is going on around you, and you're not ready for that ash rush that may be occurring. So now comes the big question: how many anchors do you realistically think you need to have? Whilst the answer isn't a clear-cut simple one, there is a bit of a general rule of thumb that could be applied. I would personally say 2 to 3 anchors is the best amount, but this is definitely going to vary from site to site as well as game mode. This number allows you to cover various entries to the site with a slight overlap of views to enable crossfires into doorways. If a blitz pushes through a door, you want two people to be able to get a look at him from different angles. Any more than this and you're sort of going to be tripping over each other and getting in each other's way, but you'll also be inviting the attackers up to the site way too early in the round. The longer your roamers can waste the time of the enemy, the better it is for the team. Now, I wanted to mention aggressiveness versus passiveness in this video because it's probably the most common mistake people make when they're playing a role of an anchor. Finding the balance is tough as hell, I'm not even going to lie. Too aggressive and you get picked off early and leave an entry into the site unguarded. Too passive and you aren't deterring people from entering. With the peeker's advantage being so noticeable in this game, if you're remaining stationary behind a shield, you will be droned out and you'll be killed quicker than you can say rook mine. Over peeking is a common mistake too. Now, we're all guilty of this to some extent, but as soon as we see an enemy, we want that kill and we want it as soon as possible. But remember that if an attacker is holding an angle on a doorway, he's not planting the diffuser, he's not capturing the hostage, he's got to come to you. If you are keeping an angle and stopping the push of anyone coming onto the site, that attacker can stay out there for as long as he wants. The second you step out to try and secure that kill when you don't actually need to, it's sod's law that you will just lose the gunfight and leave that section of the site open for the attack. When holding angles, try to be unpredictable in your height. Most people will pre-fire at head or chest height, so by getting higher or lower, you can force enemies to have to readjust their aim, giving you that precious fraction of a second to secure the kill. This can be done by opening the bottom of walls so that you can see the feet of enemies, or by vaulting up onto objects to elevate you. By being fluid in your role and directing your attention to the various places attackers could be coming from, it affords you the luxury of keeping them guessing after they've droned you out. The final section of today's video, we're looking at the final seconds of the game. Now, it's in these moments that you know the push is about to happen. The enemy are going to be trying to hit you with everything they have left, and it's your job to stop them from succeeding. In the final few seconds, you need to be taking note of where the push is likely to come from. How has the map changed? Are there new holes in the walls? Are entire walls missing? Are the hatches open? Calls from your team will also be important in this phase, as it can allow you to better direct your attention to the correct areas. As enemies will often push in 2s or 3s, you've got to be careful after killing someone as well. Don't reload straight away if you can avoid it. You don't want to secure a kill only to see the next person running through a different door whilst your rifle has no magazine attached. Stay calm, stay collected, and aim for the head of the targets as they present themselves. By implementing these tips, I'm not saying you're going to be the world's best anchor. Like with anything, it requires practice, and the more you play the role, the more map knowledge you gain. Get to know the lines of sight and the best angles for the particular site you're defending. If you're on attack and you die to an anchor, ask yourself how and why did that happen? Were they using an awesome angle you didn't know about? Maybe you could incorporate that into your game. When it comes to Siege, we are always learning. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider hitting that thumbs up and subscribing. And if you want to see me implement these tactics live, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday from 7:30 PM British time. The link is going to be down in the description below. I'd love to see you guys over there. If you don't already, you can follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with all the latest goings on with the channel. And until next time, guys, stay reckless and relentless.
So save me.